Welcome to episode 24.
Damn.
Shout out Kobe.
Kobe.
Right. I'm with Papa Ev
Hello.
and Uncle Danny.
Hola.
And hey guys, we've been doing this podcast like a hot second now.
Oh, damn.
I think it's fucking cool, by the way, that it's like, see when I'm like fucking thing in it, and it's like episode 20 something, 21, 22, 22, gaining a bit of momentum, putting in the fucking reps, aren't we?
But yeah, putting in the reps podcast.
Actually,
The reps
the
podcast.
Reps podcast.
Oh shit.
So we spoke to another fitness dude yesterday, and we told him to do a podcast. He's like, what's it called? And we're like, the No Rep podcast from East CrossFitters. That's the first thing he says.
Ah,
Yeah.
I
I was like, hell no.
Hell no.
Yeah, I'm not a
I suppose
fucking
it does
virgin.
have somewhat a CrossFit connotation, but I want to bring that into the mainstream a little bit more, because essentially more people need to move less like a bag of shit.
But isn't it also a bit of a double entendre, right? Because it's no reps in the CrossFit thing, but it's also no reps and no reputation.
Could be.
So there you go.
Could
There
be.
you go.
Aye, starting from nothing. Why is it called No Rep again?
don't know.
I don't fuck knows.
We had like 100 name ideas, if you remember.
I know. We should have went with the Sourdough Social Club. It's gonna happen. Stop it.
No.
I love it.
So there's been some things happening. I think we're going to break down some social media stuff. We're also talking in the cyberspace world interlude.
That was a week apart.
There was a week apart. We're going to line up some guests.
Yes.
Right, we're going to line up a guest features. Right,
Features.
I'll get one, you get one, you get one. However, there are fines, and then input the video of the guy. You got no fines. To the 4 people that listen to this,
You want some?
right?
I'll give it you.
To the 4 people that listen to this, one of them being my mum. Who do you want on? Yeah, I mean, do you want people on? What topics do you want to hear? Let us know. Some feedback would be good. So get us in the inboxes and the DMs and the comment section, all that sort of shit. Because it'd be good to know, because we have an idea of who we would like on, but some listeners might be like
the dominatrix from that podcast.
yeah, I know. I need to send you that. But totally out of context. People are like, what the fuck?
What?
Do you know what? We're not going to explain it. We'll just skip it.
Exactly. But like, if people are listening and they're like that, I would quite like to hear someone's thoughts on X, and they could be opposing thoughts. I'd say that opposing thoughts would be actually better, because then it brings a more organic conversation to the table.
Send a page our way.
Yes. But with that being said, Papa Ev, break down some things that have been happening in the world of late. You're the news guy.
I'm the news guy. I feel like I always end up in the news guy.
Yeah.
Is this my thing?
That's
now?
your thing.
I've got a thing on the podcast.
Yeah.
That's so nice. And, basically, I can't even. This is going to be a little bit. I can't even remember the last name. But basically, in Iran, someone and I'm fact check me if I'm butchering this fact. And
My name is Masa Amini. I don't know if I butchered that. Masa Amini.
she was
22.
basically killed by police officers, or no, it wasn't the police officers, it was the religious police, wasn't it? It was the religious police, I think.
Morality police.
Yeah, for basically wearing our hijab incorrectly, and then as a result of that, there's been mass kind of protests in Iran, around the world. It's been a big thing. I can't even. It was a couple of weeks ago it happened, wasn't it? And but watching, and actually something that not that I noticed, but something that I saw as well, is Iran has switched off the internet.
What?
I think yeah, I saw that on, it was like BBC News or something like that, but they've like,
Because they don't want this going, they don't want this.
fact check
That's a fact check, that one.
for our man in the chair, Paul.
Yeah, Amini, 22, died on Friday in northern Tehran. She had been arrested on Tuesday and reportedly taken to a hospital shortly afterwards. Amini suffered multiple blows to the head before she died, according to London-based broadcaster Iran International. Amini was arrested in her brother's car during a visit to see her family members in the capital. The outlet reported she had originally that doesn't matter. Blah, blah, blah. Her father says she was beaten to death in custody, and then now since has kind of been the outcry. But the police reject the allegations, saying Amini died after being taken to hospital because she had a heart attack. Now she's 22.
They did shut down the internet. They did
They
shut
did
down.
shut down
They
the
did
internet.
shut down the internet.
God damn.
It's that easy, Trips.
Wow.
That's absolutely.
That's why they want you to have electric cars.
So they can just stop the
You
car.
can turn them off.
Mhm.
Turn them off.
So I spoke.
That's what the Matrix wants.
Uh-huh.
They're going to turn it off. They're going to shut us down. They're going to shut us down next because we're speaking the truth.
Yep.
But
That's fucking mental.
thoughts on
So
First thought is that's fucking mental.
it's fucking mental.
Fucking
I just
wild.
feel like it's mad that a country is a country that has religion in it, but a country shouldn't be religion. I don't feel ever. So like in a place like that, religion is the country, right?
Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying.
Do you see what I'm saying? But a country should be a country. Like, but it's so like it's mad that a full country is technically ran by the religion and the beliefs of people.
Aye.
And I just feel like I don't know. That's just
It's obviously bewildering to us because we are like from the West
Yeah.
and stuff. We'll never fully kind of appreciate it. And it's also not up to us to tell anyone what religion they should follow
No.
or how they should do it and stuff.
not.
But I just think it's mental that in 2022, shit like that's happening, and it's just a big fuck you to women. There's, I don't really get it. But again, we would never get it. So
No.
where do they go from here? It's a massive human rights violation. So do we get involved? Not us personally. Not to send in send in the No Rep podcast to sort it out.
Ah, well, fuck, the three of us will just fucking sort it around. But listen, boys, gonna wrap it, right? Because you're fucking taking it too far.
Oh, treating your missus like shit.
Mate, so at least 76 protesters have been killed by Iranian security forces during the 11 days of unrest sparked by the death of a woman in custody, activists say. So following such, this is yesterday, updated 9 hours ago. This is an article from BBC for those that want to check it out. At least 76 protesters have been killed since then in the 11 days that's happened. So that one death that's now set up to 77, there's probably more that's been since then, have all spurred because someone was wearing something incorrectly.
And actually think about this as well. Think about all the things that have went unreported, like just over the years. I'm also not just talking about Iran. I'm talking about every country.
Yeah.
Like
Maybe
all
the
these
area's not as built up as like that
like,
area.
and isn't. I mean, somebody can fact check this as well. Isn't Afghanistan under like Taliban rule now? So it's actually like it's a Taliban state. The Taliban run a country, and it actually just
right.
yeah. I
so.
feel like. Do you remember back when like Smeato kicked the terrorists and stuff back in like early,
Kicked him in the balls.
in early 2000s? Like it was just like the war on terror was the big thing. I just feel we don't really talk about that anymore. Obviously, there's wee bits and bobs about ISIS and stuff, but it's very much.
There's probably more distractions
Russia.
going on. There's other things that we're being distracted with. Do you know what I mean?
This could be a tinfoil hat episode.
It fucking should be, by the way.
Every episode.
There's always distractions going on. 9/11, big distraction.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Both. It's an inside job. It was an inside job, let's face it, right? We're not fucking stupid.
On what you're saying with distractions and all the rest of it in media, so you're basically down the route of like the media will show us what we want to be shown, right? There's a rapper who.
It's not what we want to be shown, though, is it?
No, sorry. They'll show us what they want us to see.
Yeah,
I should say.
yeah. That's it.
So there's a rapper who maybe fought or so I caught a wee bit of what he done, but anyway, it was a good 2 minutes he was talking. He spoke about 3 things in a post fight interview. The first thing was doing it more to help child malnourishment and kids not getting fed and all this. The second thing was something related again, this has to be spoke about. The third thing was saying he lost the fight because he had 2 herpes outbreaks in the lead up. Made it up because he wanted to expose the media. There I'm with that. Didn't fucking talk about that. Didn't talk about the 2 good things that are positive that really should be done.
You can't even remember one of them.
No, I can't. But like, because let's be honest, when he brought that up, I was so amazed that like
I don't know, it
that's
was
what
at the
they're on
black
by.
guy.
Aye.
And he was at that, and I got a herpes outbreak. and
That was
that's
a
what-
lie. That
Was
was a
that?
lie. That was a lie.
Because I seen
And
that
he
clip.
because he wanted to expose the media that they'll run with that. He said, "I'll know they'll run with that." Like these people and all that, and they did. They totally ran with it. Even the person that was speaking to about it ran with it. And she said, "Sure, I did run with it." He's like, exactly. You'll just like, it just shows you how the meat. It's just
It's so easily manipulated.
so easy manipulated.
Yeah.
That's mad.
Aye.
Isn't it?
That was a lie. His ad didn't have that. That was not. Did not have that.
Well, it's crazy the things that they will put in front of you when there's other things, there's bigger things at play.
Well, aye.
There's bigger things, there's bigger issues that need to be tackled, but they'll just show you like whatever the fuck.
Because people love negativity and they love like stories that are a bit fucked and they love this stuff. But like, that's
How much did you hear of Holly Willoughby and fucking Philip Schofield skipping a queue, right?
You know.
When what the fuck's the big deal anyway, right? What you got to expect them to wait for 13 hours when they're fucking A-list celebrities? Obviously they're not gonna, right? It's to the Queen, right? Obviously they're not gonna fucking wait in line. David Beckham did it because he's a good man and he's a fucking he's a solid dude.
Or
right?
is he not in the firing line now because he says something about guitar or something?
No, is he not like he's not sponsored by Qatar. What's the word? He's like an ambassador or something for the World Cup in Qatar, which should it with all the kind of human rights violations with building the stadiums and stuff.
Wait, how many people have died? How many people have
Put it
died
this way,
building that?
there's not a chance in hell Qatar should have got the World Cup. Not a chance. Like, it's ridiculous. It's all about money. But this is obviously how the world goes round, isn't it?
Of course. But no, but basically there's in my eyes I'm like, right, okay, he's on the firing line a little bit. Has he went and stood in the queue to make himself look like a good man, like make himself look like a good person? Because let's be honest, David, you didn't need to wait in line, mate. Like,
I know.
you could David Beckham, like you could have easily made no
deal
deal about it.
Do you know how many people have, like, take a guess, how many migrant workers have died in Qatar since the World Cup was being awarded?
100.
I don't want to overshoot it.
This is an article from The Guardian, right? Again, for those who want to check it out. But just take a guess. I want a guess.
100.
I know. I think it's a lot more than that. I think maybe 5,000. Is that far too much? Is that loads?
6,500 migrant workers from India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka have died in Qatar since it won the right to host the World Cup.
And do you know what's mental as well?
Is this through construction tragedies?
Yep.
And just bad, probably.
Apparently, the total death toll is significantly higher, as these numbers do not include deaths from a number of other countries, which send large number of workers from Qatar, including the Philippines, Kenya. Deaths that occurred in the final months of 2020 are also not included. And this is actually over 10 years.
And they're still getting the World Cup.
Aye, the World Cup. But the thing is, they're having the World Cup. It's at the tail end of this. Usually it's a summer event, but obviously it'd be far too warm in Qatar for it to be a summer event. But see these stadiums, right? They're just going to lie empty after the World Cup. They're just going to be ghost towns.
The thing is, so they say that there's 37 deaths among workers directly linked to the construction of the World Cup stadiums, of which 34 have been classified as non-work related by the events organising committee.
That's wild.
So where have the 6.7k deaths came from? I don't get if some of them were...
No, it doesn't make sense, does it?
I know, this is just what this article was saying.
Wild anyway.
Anyway, more than one is a cause for concern. IMO.
One is a cause for concern.
Do you know what I mean? IMO, like, if it happens once, you're a bit like, oh, what's happening here?
Yeah.
But the whole Qatar World Cup thing, like, is that...
I was in Qatar.
Right?
Yeah,
Right.
in a scene 4 years ago, something like that. And
In
I
a scene?
seen like some of the stadiums that were getting put up,
Right.
and like people are driving in Qatar, but nobody's actually in it. Like, I feel like it was dead.
Yeah.
The full place was dead. The markets were dead. The city centre was dead. There was nobody there because people don't stay really in the centre of Qatar. They stay elsewhere out with them.
Yeah.
People are maybe working in Qatar and the kind of big business buildings stay kind of in there. So people are always driving through it, but going to
Somewhere
elsewhere
else.
sort of thing. So it's not like it's this big buzzing place where there's like loads of people. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Just circling back to Iran, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And obviously all the shit that's going on and stuff. And if it gets to a certain degree, the people will step in, but like, or they should, that UN or whoever it is needs to step in. But what can you do to a country that's nuclear? Because Iran's got nukes.
Mm.
But
Like,
you can't really do it because then you're asking, it's a war against religion it becomes. It's not a war against a country.
yeah.
That's a different story entirely. Like, when that happens.
It's a bit mad, isn't it?
Aye.
The world's fucked, man.
Aye.
Like,
What are you gonna say?
it's just such a pure, like, guy podcast type thing. It's, aye, the world's fucked, man. It's like, with no alternative.
fucking-
Helping none.
No thought, no input. It's like, we're all fucked, basically.
And that's
bet
the end
you-
of the
I bet you-
podcast.
I bet everybody's listening going, I know.
Aye, you know, I agree.
Fucking is it?
We'll see you next week to tell you the same thing again. Right, Trips? But
Have a good day.
It's,
It was more just me expressing my opinion on like this fucking weird as shit, man. Like, it's mad how. But you think over in places like Iran or I was going to say or in Taliban or like Afghanistan and all that, they're thinking like about us. Oh, the West's fucked.
Aye.
oh, definitely.
Yeah.
1000%. 1000%.
So who's right?
Because most people's
This is-
perception of the West will be like they just get their asses out, they're just fucking, they hold themselves out for money and yada yada yada, and a lot of that stuff is true, which is haram, as
Yep.
they would say. Maybe not in that accent, but say it's haram. But I mean, who is right, who is wrong? Do you know what I mean? Like, who is right, who is wrong? They're definitely not right. That's a fact. That's a fact. Let's just underline that one.
Right,
Bold
so-
underline.
What to talk about that today? Let's
Do you want to move on from that?
Let's move on from that.
Yeah, move on.
Let's go to stuff that are maybe a little slightly more qualified to talk about.
Yeah.
Burpees.
Burpees and shit.
So you've been watching something on the old Netflix, bruv. What you been watching?
Mate.
Yeah,
So
I've not.
the TV show gets a shout out, but the man does not get a shout out. The Jeffrey Dahmer thing. How mental is it?
Is he not?
No, honestly, if you've not watched it yet, right, then maybe
I don't
want
wanna
to
give it a wa- I don't wanna give-
No,
right? We're not
fucking
gonna
give it away.
too far
No.
away.
No.
But Jeffrey Dahmer was known as the Milwaukee cannibal for munching 17 guys and boys over the course of about 12-13 years.
That just sounds like a standard weekend for you.
That-
Munch,
it was a standard weekend for him, definitely.
Aye.
munching
his
on
weekend.
boys.
Do you know what's mad about it as well? Because we talked about the guy that plays him, Evan Peters. Yeah, great name by the way.
Oh,
Evan.
that
Great name.
guy is a phenomenal actor.
Brilliant.
Phenomenal.
I only remember him from he played
X-Men.
X-Men, aye, and then American Horror Story. I was like, he's pretty good.
He's
Nah, but
phenomenal.
apparently he went like
He did. He,
wee
he
bit
had a
loopy.
bit of a hard time through
with his
shooting it.
family and all that for kind of I don't know if it's a method actor maybe. What's I don't know what is. I don't really know what a method actor is, but
I feel like in the circumstance of that role, probably had to maybe not kill people and that, but
I was also thinking about we'll talk about the show again in a wee second, right? But see, Heath Ledger and
Yeah.
stuff as well.
He
He
was
was
bring us up.
you're gonna bring it up and somebody else. Who's the guy? Is it Joaquin Phoenix?
Mhm.
Who also played it? See, because the roles are so dark and stuff. For me, so I don't really get it because obviously I'm not an actor and I've not done it. I would think you would just be the acting would just be like your job. You would just go do the job and you would just come home. Like I think it's mad how a role can affect people so much.
but it is.
Think about it though.
I
no,
get,
but I know.
Aye,
But
think about
I'm
it.
not saying. I'm not saying.
Shouldn't.
I'm not
This
saying.
is-
I'm not saying it. Aye.
It
I-
shouldn't.
I
But
think
see, a
it
good actor, they agree, it shouldn't. A good actor turns up in the day, does his job and leaves, and that's it. But it's because people get so far. Like, there's no need. It changes nothing to become a method actor. Or I know people say it does, but it doesn't. You can see actors who don't method act, who you're so into what they're playing that you're just like amazed by it. They don't do method acting. These people do method acting is because they can't draw emotion in the scene and all the rest of it. So they need to go so far one way. There's no need for it. It should actually be looked at as like you need to stop that because there's people that go on.
Nah,
there's
I
people.
disagree.
There's
Because
people
they
that
make
got
fucking
do you
damn
know-
good movies, mate. I disagree.
But there's more people you know that don't method act. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I get
Right,
you.
that
I
do
get you.
amazing movies. So there is no need for it, but it's just what they choose to do. But
Aye.
it becomes a problem for the other actors. So then
Have
it
you ever
becomes
seen-
then it becomes a work problem, and that's like that. Who's that guy who's a singer? Who Jared Leto? So he method acts,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But people like he's a fucking nightmare.
Aye.
An absolute
yeah.
nightmare. He
Yeah.
work with, nobody wants to be around him, nobody really wants to talk to him because of how much a nightmare is. So he then creates issues for the rest of the actors, which to say they don't then have bad performances because of him.
Well, have you ever listened to any sort of Jamie Foxx interview?
Aye.
Right,
Jamie Foxx is great.
Jamie Foxx.
He's one of the most He's handsome.
talented
he can
men
sing,
he's
of our
rich,
he can
generation,
act.
right? He's one of the
He
most
can play
talented
like
men.
9 instruments or something like that.
He's
Like,
amazing, right? But his ability to tell stories as well is like unmatched. It's so good. And he was telling a story about what's the movie? Django Unchained, right?
Brilliant movie.
What a
Aye.
film.
What a
And he
film.
was talking about, so Leonardo DiCaprio
Aye,
had a hard
seen
time
this
saying the
clip.
N-word, right? He had a
was he
hard
not doing this when he was doing an interview with what's his face? The OG man, the
Oprah.
legend. Training Day. My God, what's his name?
Denzel.
Denzel
Oh,
Washington.
yeah,
Do you
yeah,
know
it was
him?
Denzel.
He's
Yeah,
with
it was
Denzel.
Denzel. So he's doing it and he had a hard time saying it. And then Samuel L. Jackson turns to Leonardo DiCaprio and goes, "We are not your friends. It's like, we are your, what's it said? We are your property.
Uh-huh.
That's what we are. We are your property. You own us." Like to like talk to him as if he was like a slave master or something like that back in the day.
And it was like
And
the
then
day,
it-
but there was a day
And then
before,
the
wasn't
day
it?
after, I said the day after he came in, and it's like, "What's up, Leo?" And then he just blanked everyone. Just fucking walked in. "What's up, Leo?" And then fucking bossed the scene the next day.
Just N-words.
That's where the day I should
And
say. Do you know what I
then,
mean?
Like, so we talked last episode, what were we talking about? Like alcohol, the language you surround using it, like change the language you say. So if you've got these fucking actors who are like literally the whole being is changing to the way they pick something up, to the way they walk, to the way they address people, like that's got to be hard just to turn off.
Aye.
Like, how can you just turn that off and on when if you spend weeks playing a character, months playing
years
a character,
potentially.
yeah, and then you're like, how the fuck can I turn that off? Like, that's why I'd rather play like Iron Man or something like that. And then you just get to fucking pretend you're Iron Man all the time. Absolute fucking boss,
Oh, that's
Also,
conscious.
Robert Downey Jr., brilliant actor.
Aye.
mate. His best role, Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
His best role of all time.
Never go
mate.
full blackface or something.
Tropic Thunder is, I feel, one of the most underrated comedy films ever.
Superb.
It's fucking hilarious. It's just funny from like start to finish. And there's so many actors in it.
Is it,
So do you feel like there's people got an issue with Robert Downey Jr. playing that role, right?
Fucking
Could you back
hilarious.
That's but he feels bad. I don't know if he does or someone says, "Oh, you should feel bad
Did
about
they
it."
talk about it on Rogan when he went on Rogan?
It was definitely spoke about. Aye,
Did they?
I can't remember what he said about it, so I'm not going to try and.
Aye.
But do you think you should feel bad about it? It's just it's
Because
for a movie.
and the way in which the movie was and the way in which the movie
Because he was a
intended to
method
be.
actor.
Yeah, exactly. Like
So it's
that's
like-
the thing. That was
aye.
the whole committee. See if it was just like fucking Django Unchained and then they fucking
All of a sudden.
blackface somebody, you'd be a bit like,
Aye.
oh, that's a bit
That was
weird.
fucked up.
Like,
That was
yeah, that's a
fucked
bit
up.
odd. But the fact that that was the point in him doing it is because it was meant to be like something you weren't supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing was he went and got fucking like surgery to
Yeah.
change his voice box and nose and everything. Like there was a whole surgery scene and all that. Like that's why it was fucking hilarious.
Aye.
aye.
But people are too fucking soft, man.
I
People are
know.
too soft.
Listen, do you know it's funny because see, at some point in every episode of this podcast, we could always like get around to talking about how people are snowflakes and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It always
Little
circle-
butterfly.
little butterfly. Like, but it's fucking true, man. Like, don't get me
Well,
wrong.
here's the other thing. Ben Stiller plays a retard.
Simple Jack.
Simple Jack. And he calls himself like, you never go full retard and all that. So they talk about that. Is that offensive?
I know.
Aye.
Yes. But is it funny? Also, yes, in the context of the movie.
Yes.
Can't just go around.
Context is everything.
Ex-
Can't all
Exactly.
just go around N-word fucking retard.
We're going to get soundbite and fucking charged, dragged
I
into
know.
court.
Do you know it's due to happen
Cancelled.
at some point? A wee soundbite go
I'd
back
like
and
to get
cancel these bastards.
I'd like to get to 100 episodes before we get cancelled. I think that would be
So,
quite good.
Just retire, get a testimonial.
Yeah.
But see, this is, I think, 6 months to a year away from happening. So we have went so far one way to Snowflake Land in Butterfly
I thought you
Land,
meant
right?
us. I was like,
No, just the human race, right, have went so far one way that people are starting to come out of the woodwork, right, that are so far the opposite way. So it's by the people that are so far one way, who are snowflakey, who are like, don't say that, you can't say that, you can't say this, that are creating monsters essentially in the other end of the scale, like
Yes.
Andrew Tate and people
Aye,
that
they're
are now coming out,
stoking
Sneeko,
the fire,
all these
aren't
people,
they?
and it's only, guess what? It's only going to get worse. And you've only got yourself to blame. It's as simple as that.
Do you know why? I don't know if I've said this before. No, so the whole Andrew Tate cancellation thing,
Yep.
right? He's not allowed to have anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's deemed dangerous, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
right? The Taliban have an active Twitter account.
Yes. It's not even been flagged.
And they're just cool with that.
Do you know what's dangerous?
You know what I mean? Am I mental?
No. I think, if gun to my head, right, I think that the Taliban are worse than Andrew Tate.
Gun to the head, no that.
Yeah.
Does it make him a good guy? Because he's probably not.
You don't, but
Even though if you agree with some of his business insight, and but also this is my perspective and my opinion on the Taliban might be good to people there. Who knows?
What can you believe in the media these days?
I know. Like, are they even real? Like,
So essentially, what Evan's saying is that he likes the Taliban.
Sounds like it.
He's pro-Taliban.
Like
That's basically what I got from that. That's the caption of this episode. Evan is pro-Taliban.
I'm just
going to say something else. I don't know if that's actually racist.
I've just been Switzerland. See, the thing is, we don't actually know.
Evan's that son in the middle. Like, just give the guys a chance.
See when you make the thumbnail. No, fine.
I don't know if I can do that.
I can't say it. Wait.
Moving on.
Give us some fitness things. So fitness things we can talk about.
Well, since we're on the subject of Twitter and stuff.
Yes, on the
fitness,
Twitter.
Do you want to talk about fitness things that are like maybe stuff you shouldn't believe or should you?
Well, one of the thoughts I was having is because in today's day and age, everyone's attention span is so
Attention
short.
what?
What did I
You
say?
definitely said pan.
Attention span. Everyone's
Attention pan.
Everyone's a
Frying
pin pan. Simple Jack over here. Everyone's
pot.
attention
Everyone's
span is
attention
so
pot.
short that you have reels, fucking shorts, TikToks, all the rest of it, and you have to capture people's attention. And I seen a very cool video that broke down. You know, Mr. Beast, the guy that's insane on YouTube. He had a YouTube short that was like 35 seconds long with him and Gordon Ramsay, right? And there was 146 different kind of jump cuts, edits, subtitles,
That's right.
blurry cameras, blah, like things moving and action
Three
going.
things happen in a second.
Right?
Sort of deal.
Yeah, 3 things happen in a second and a 35-second clip just to keep your attention, right? And obviously that happens in the fitness space, right? So we have to capture someone's attention. Stop doing back squats because they're shite. And then you're like, whoa, why? And then you listen to it. So even though there's a lot of good that can come from Twitter, a lot of good that can come from TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Reels, it's not the best place to gain fitness advice.
Yes.
Without doing your own.
It's not. It shouldn't be your only. Because see, the thing is as well, we also we give out good advice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know?
Like 1,000%. But you need to remember, we have accumulated all this knowledge and the ability to share our advice and our lessons and learnings through a decade plus of experience, trawling through bodybuilding.com articles, T-Nation articles. Have you not done a paper, bro? Like written a paper for your fucking...
Yeah, it was supposed to be published, yeah.
A published
It
fucking
didn't, 'cause it was
paper, bro. Right?
On ankles.
On ankles.
I know all things ankles.
So like...
Which Evan has weak.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I sprained my ankle like 2 weeks ago.
Hey,
Well, you should know what to do, bro. You should know how to fix it.
It's in the process, so it's just really, really sore, but continue.
so like we've amassed this knowledge over a long ass time. So we're able to say a concise point, 30 seconds, boom, this is a thing, blah, 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 blah. But a lot of it needs more context. And that's something that people are lacking when it comes to like a lot of people at the start of their fitness journeys or they're a year in or something like that and they feel like they know everything. And what's the thing? There's like a chart of things that you feel like you know. And then the longer you're in something, they realise you don't know actually that much.
I actually don't know what you're talking about.
No,
The
I'll find
Himalayan chart.
it's not
You just made that
I
up.
made that up.
You made that
But-
up.
It's not that.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
it's
it's not
bad.
that.
You're
it's
right.
not
So what you're saying, we used to be able to take a picture on Instagram, write up a post that'd be very, very helpful and cover everything we needed to cover. Yes, it would maybe take a minute or two to read, right? But we can't do that anymore because you need to read them.
No.
You need to read them. You want these 30-second quick clips. So by that happening, you're never going to learn enough in a 30-second quick clip. Doesn't matter how good you're at getting information across there. So a lot of what we need to say sometimes gets missed out,
Totally. But I
which
think
is unfortunate.
I
but
mean, when you boil it down to it, like, the internet is a popularity contest.
It's attention, mate.
It's attention. But anyway,
Be able to draw
what are you looking
attention.
for? What are you looking at?
I was going to try and find the name of that chat.
thing.
That's doing my fucking nothing.
But I think the point that we're kind of shuffling around is that Reels, Shorts, TikTok, and that it shouldn't be your only source of fitness advice because it is so like varied. I feel like, for example, I saw a tweet. Was that a tweet? Anyway, I saw something.
Is that the
something.
thing you put in the group?
No, we'll talk about that in a wee second.
Right.
And basically saying that deadlifts are the best exercise for building muscle, right? Which, well, what I'll say is that they're not a bad exercise for building muscle, and they should be part of a program or whatever. But what are you talking about when you're saying building muscle? Are you talking about the back? Are you talking about the legs? Are you talking about the glutes?
What reps are you doing here?
Because see, if you're talking about the upper back, you'd be better doing a row. See, if you're talking about your hamstrings, you're probably better doing an RDL.
Are you talking about hormones?
Like, do you know what I mean?
There's no contact.
It's a good exercise, right? But is it the best exercise for building muscle? What fucking muscle are you talking about? Your biceps? Definitely not, right?
It's like context
matters
massively. And it's just lost because you need these punchy things. You need these punchy quick tidbits to like gain your attention, and then you believe it to be gospel.
So I've just seen some on Twitter since I started scrolling through. Now I'm just going to read the sentence out and just you interpret what you think it means, right?
Okay.
Okay, John. Don't eat tobacco. Lift.
What?
Don't eat tobacco.
Lift.
So I have to lift it instead.
So
do you know what? I don't entirely disagree with his advice.
You shouldn't eat tobacco.
I get what he means. He's talking to men that think they need to be men. I just feel like when I look at him and he's this guy with a suit on, Pedro L. Gonzalez, and it's a fitness tip and it says don't eat tobacco, lift. I feel like he's like these people who maybe think they're manly because they're like eating tobacco and stuff like that. He's maybe saying to them, no, lift instead.
Aye.
But just
it's do you know Twitter's actually I love Twitter. I think Twitter's like one of the last like just great places to be because it's so it's so white. It's like the Wild West. Twitter's like the Wild West.
Yeah.
Anything goes, right? For example, I searched fitness there, right? And do you know what one of the first things that came up on my screen? It's a guy. I'll show you, Jordan. It's a guy dressed as Spider-Man.
Oh shit!
With his like
He's
short,
wanger.
he's just wanger, just like
Some piece on the boy, man. Christ.
some banger. But what the fuck's that got to do with fitness? But anyway, back to kind of reels and shorts and shit.
Right, so I've got a scale and it's called the fancier an exercise looks. So like, there's the fanciness of an exercise, right? And the fancier it looks, the shiter it actually is. Versus the non-fancier it looks, the better it is, right? Because you see these videos, like these two weapons. Do you think they're actually doing that to look like that? Of course they're not. That man is lifting big
I like
shit.
that. I like that one.
There you
That's
go.
that
Right?
video.
They're basically shaking hands while in a squat. That's what they're doing there.
Plyo lunges alright.
But this has got 465,000 likes, right? 456,000 likes, almost 500,000 likes, not views, likes. But how many people listening to this right now? And I want you to comment if you are. Are you following accounts that post shit like this that say the best fat loss workout you can do today, the 8-pack ab workout you can do today, and it's people jumping about, sweating a wee bit, but they're jumping about doing fancy stuff? Are you?
It's fucking.
Let me know their account so we can share some of their stuff.
It's ridiculous, man. Are you going to say something?
No, well I was, but I'm
shook by that.
What are you looking at?
just Twitter. So there's a few tweets that I found, right? And I want to get your thoughts on them. So one of them's from a kind of fitness influencer who's in shape. And he says, everyone who disagrees with my fitness advice are never as jacked as me. A lesson in there. What's your thoughts on that tweet?
Can I start with this one?
Yeah.
So just because the person's jacked, don't believe everything they say, because and this goes for people can look a certain way and have maybe looked a certain way, right? And if you go, oh my god, her bum's great, her body's great, and give you advice, don't take it as gospel. Don't just take it as gospel. Same with guys. If you're a built muscly guy, don't just take everything that says as gospel. Why should you? Because they look a certain way. Do you perceive because someone looks a certain way for them to know more than maybe somebody else? Is that what you think?
Yeah, I mean, they obviously know something.
No, they know something, but
it's,
they know
uh,
everything.
Shove a needle in their ass.
It's like they know something, and it's kind of. I agree with it to a certain extent. Like there's things that there's a the lesson in that I agree with to a certain extent. It's not always going to be true, because an example I quite like to use is that Jose Mourinho was never the best footballer in the world. He's one of the best managers. Arguably in the
Alex
world.
Ferguson as well.
Alex Ferguson would play for fucking St Mirren for
The thing is,
season or whatever.
I'm not jacked as shit. Well,
You
nah,
big boy, you strong boy.
I'm strong boy.
Yeah.
But I can get people into fantastic shape.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly,
The,
it's
the,
like-
the people you listen to should have proof, social proof
They've
that
either
they've actually
Been there themselves,
or
or they've
got someone
led
there.
people to where they should,
Like-
to the destination.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely. But someone you definitely should be taking fitness advice from is the Secretary of State for Health and Social Care for the United Kingdom,
And
Theresa
Courtney Black.
Coffey. Is it not Theresa Coffey?
Yeah,
This is a picture of her here. You see that?
yeah, you can see it.
She is
Like, Raw's out Monsters Inc.
nursing a glass of prosecco, chuffing a cigar with her giant sausage fingers. Yeah.
Do you know?
So who would you rather take fitness advice from? The arrogant potential steroid user who is in really good shape, or dare I say it, this fat cow?
I know,
what
it's
do you
absolutely,
think?
mate. Do you know, I had a conversation with, and this literally just happened today with one of my clients, right? And I'm not going to, I don't think I'd give anything away anyway, but basically, we were talking about basically GPs, right? And obviously, like doctors and that, they're very well educated and whatever. But a lot of the time, they don't have a fucking
Oh
clue
man, scary.
about like fitness, weight loss, and anything like that. And I'm not going to go into the details again. I want it because I don't know if you want me speaking about it, or whatever.
My GP hates
But-
me.
But they basically said to her
I've
that,
seen him in ages.
oh well, like someone like of your size, no wonder you're having this problem, right? And it's fucking rude.
That's what the
Right.
GP said.
Yeah, but it's absolutely, it's mad. It's absolutely mad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but speaking back to the full advice thing again, you wouldn't take money advice from a brokey, would you?
No.
So
It's the wrong thing to do, isn't it?
yeah, it's the wrong thing to do.
Well, on that note, right, so there was another tweet that I kind of screenshotted, and so taking money advice from people who come from rich families is the same as taking fitness advice from people on steroids. Do you agree?
No.
Why?
Because I agree with not taking money advice from people from rich families. Well, depending what family member it is.
Aye. Who
Right.
did you make the money?
Like,
I'll talk. I'll listen
do
to
you know
you.
what I mean? So that there's things with that it really depends who it is. Somebody might be fucking clued because success leaves clues,
Aye.
right? Success leaves clues. So see if someone's family's absolutely minted. It didn't, unless they've inherited an estate or whatever. It didn't just happen. But see, people that are on steroids, it doesn't mean that they know fuck all. Not at all.
You can't. You don't just.
Almost argue
you don't just
that
take-
some of them potentially, listen to the words I'm saying, no more.
Oh fucking! You can be You can be the most clued up person in the fucking world and be on the roids. You can also be a fucking knobhead. I was going to say. I was going to say knobhead or diddy, and it was going to come out niddy. You can be absolute niddy, and but that wasn't the N word.
Not the N word we were talking about
You should be a
earlier.
damn. And which obviously you can't say, and basically,
Yeah.
not at all. You know what I mean,
Agreed. I don't agree with that statement entirely, and I think that I mean, like, not that you should be taking fitness advice from people taking steroids, but I don't think that matters, or it should be a prerequisite or not, whether they are or whether they aren't.
Do you know what I mean? What I will
No,
probably
absolutely.
say, so see, providing someone's got a good work ethic and they are on the gear, right?
They probably will.
I know they probably would be
Yeah.
most of the time, but I think what being on roids would maybe mask is a lack of education. And
Yeah,
some-
Maybe it's just perceived then, like
Aye.
maybe people think, oh, big stupid, right? You not a clue, probably. But like, I'll go back to somebody who in this industry is probably classed as one of the James Smith, right? So he's openly talks about the fact he's on steroids and stuff like that. But James Smith had to speak to me about business and fitness and that. I'd probably listen to him.
Aye.
Doing all right. So
Do you know, I was actually going to mention
It
this.
doesn't
as well.
matter.
So see, I was actually having I love James Smith, by the way. I think he's great. But I was looking at his academy, right, and on the Instagram page. I couldn't see one result.
Do you know he spoke about this? I think he spoke about this, and he's like, the reason, I believe he said one of the reasons why he didn't post his results from things like that is because he doesn't want to shill his program through selling half naked pictures of his clients.
and then he said,
Which I'm like, I
else.
can kind of see that.
Oh,
But
he's-
if your business is results,
Well, actually, he's most recent thing he came out and said was that only 1% of people on the program get a result with that. That was what he says, and a guy I know shared it and done a post and stuff like that on it, because he's basically like, and he's saying, and I get it. I'm like, okay, I kind of get. He's basically trying to say that like, this isn't a guaranteed result here. This is only 1% of the people achieving a result with this. So I don't want to showcase my best results because then it maybe makes people feel like, oh, they're bad if they don't achieve that or they don't look like that or whatever. So
I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, the fact that he
No.
doesn't share people in their
no,
underwear. who
I
have
don't
got
think
in
you
really good
have
shape.
to and you need to, right? But where is any of the results though? Testimonial video. Where is
I'm
any of
sure
that
you
from
can
him?
find some. Listen, he's got one of
I'm
the,
sure you probably
he's got,
could.
he's got one of the largest fitness businesses probably in the world,
Mhm.
right? Arguably, it's up there, definitely in the UK or whatever. So, and you think of the amount of people that. Thing is though, the type of person that's going to buy into a program that costs them £40 a month or £8 a month, however much it is. I think you've got one at 8 and one at 40. It's like, are they truly invested into what that is delivering? Whereas if you're doing something that's more of a premium service and you have someone messaging you every single day and you've got a little bit more of a stronger accountability rather than a kind of group program, because we've all done group programs, whether it be for fitness or business, and how easy is it to just get lost?
It's
Because
easy to hide.
almost regardless of how much you're paying, you could be like, it's fine, I've not really got somebody going,
Yeah.
you done this, you done this, you done this. Like that doesn't necessarily happen. So that's why I think that what we do necessarily on that one-to-one basis is arguably more effective than what you would ever gain from a large group program. It's not to say that the content itself is any different or any better or any worse, but it's what to say is that that's not the problem. And you have said this lots,
Yeah.
where say it. It's not.
I don't know where you're going with this.
No, there's like
It's not a knowledge problem.
yes, it's not
It's
a
not a
knowledge
knowledge
problem.
problem,
It's
it's
like
an
an implementation
implementation
problem.
Yeah, you don't have an information problem, you've got an implementation problem.
Yeah.
That's
See, the thing is as well, right? The programs could be exactly so like program A, program B, could deliverables and everything could be exactly the same, right? The only thing that's different is the price point, right? But if I'm charging you 40 quid, right, for program A, but I'm charging you 200 quid for program B, the only difference will be your effort because you value the second one more because it's a higher price. Do you know what I mean? So your effort will increase generally if you're paying more for it.
Yeah.
So you actually probably get a better result, even though everything's exactly the same
Yeah.
from program B because it's a higher price, but not all the time.
The thing is though, the programs will never be the same, because if you're charging someone 40 quid a month, and you're like, there's just no way that you're going to be able to have a one-to-one accountability network.
No, not at all.
But on that, do you know what I mean? Or have someone on your back, or have someone checking in on you, or have the ability to come in and do a session with them for that little. It just isn't feasible. So
I just feel like what James Smith meant by that is that there's, because a lot of his stuff is relatively generic, right?
Yeah.
So he can get some people that'll be perfect. That'll be absolutely perfect for them, and that's all they needed. But the reason why we're more of a premium service because we individualize things a lot more to that person as well, which is obviously
Totally.
needed.
But see, the thing is, as well, I wouldn't even class him as a PT anymore. Because he's not really
it's
though.
more like a personality.
He's
in a way.
he's an influencer. He works on social media, just that we do. He's probably got teams doing all his programming and stuff, and like I don't really think kind of he'd be sitting there going through people's check-ins. He might. I don't really know, but I wouldn't even kind of.
No, I believe he's got coaches and stuff like that. They have
Yeah, do you
coaches
know what I mean?
and stuff
So-
that do that sort of thing. But I suppose when you're coaching tens of thousands of people at once,
You can do it all.
you're gonna have to hire hire people to do it. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
just when business scales, isn't it? That's just
Yeah.
what's going to be the.
I actually made my first hire today.
Let's go. Let's go.
There we go.
Was it that dominatrix?
It was just coming on the podcast.
Let's go. There's a wee thing that you said you wanted to mention, an insight that you have gathered recently.
Oh, yes. So obviously in the last episode, in the cyberspace world and stuff, me and Danny went to a kind of fitness business event in Belfast. And it was brilliant. So many insights and kind of takeaways from it and stuff. And we were kind of chatting about, like, was there any that we could then pass on to our clients or pass on to our listeners or whatever that would help them, right? And I'll get the quote up, right? And I think you've got one as well. Did you write that down?
Yeah.
I'll go first. And basically, one of the things that I took away from it, this wasn't the exact quote, but it's to this kind of extent degree, right? So if you change your perspective, it will change your problem, right? And I thought that it's even because we've all got your own problems in fitness and business and whatever.
Changing your perspective on a problem, but it no longer becomes a problem.
Yeah. So another one of it was the severity of your problems is a matter of perspective. Change your perspective, and most of them become insignificant. Some of them will no longer exist as problems, but opportunities instead. Right. And I think that's really, really powerful. Because see, any problem that you're experiencing, right? What you need to look at is what are the opportunities from this? What opportunities does this give me? What can I learn from it? How can I? Because that's literally what problems are. And as coaches, right, our job isn't to give you the answers. It's to give you a different level of thinking. It's to give you a different kind of wavelength, if you think, to how you approach these things. What's your thoughts on that?
I really like that. And I actually had a discussion with my brother a couple of weeks ago, and then he was essentially saying that you can't change how you react to something. And I was like, you absolutely certainly can.
Yes.
Most certainly can. Regardless of what has happened, you are in a position where you can change how you can react to something. Now, it's not easy. It's not going to be overnight, and it's not going to be a complete 180 in terms of how you think, but you can change your level of thinking through repetition and through practice. Like you can absolutely do that because people change, people's thoughts change, people's tastes change. We've all done it. And he was adamant. He was like, no, you can't just change the way you react to something. I was
yes,
like,
you can.
You absolutely can. And I take a lot of kind of, that's just, it's almost solidified that the way that I've been thinking is almost like maybe correct. I don't know. Yeah. From what he's saying, because I'm like, I think that.
Yeah.
I think that all the time. Absolutely.
And it was something Big Phil said, and it actually related to me the most because I went through the realisation myself just over the last few weeks. This can be related to business, this can be related to your fitness journey, this can really be related to anything. But and again, this isn't the exact word in what he said it, but it was basically like being too focused on the growth all the time and never actually sitting in the moment. And I kind of get that. And it's like, we always focus on growth in our business, right? And growth in our personal life. Clients will always focus on the growth in our fitness journey, like we do as well, right? Yeah. But we never really acknowledge when we've actually probably hit a point that we would have been so grateful to be at 2 years prior. We never sit in the moment. We're always like, okay, well, what's the next thing now? And we never just sit in the moment and like be actually probably comes back to gratitude, grateful for the fact that like, oh my God, like I'm here, I'm where I've wanted to be. And just sit in it for a bit. Don't always think about the growth and the next big thing, and then sit in the fact that where you are sometimes. And I kind of, the reason I came to the realisation because I feel like I was just going all the time, and I wasn't feeling myself. I wasn't having new thoughts and stuff like that. Like I didn't feel like I had any fresh line of thought, perspective on anything at all. I started taking like a wee bit of time on a Wednesday, a wee bit of time here where I wasn't with anyone, wasn't talking to anybody, just kind of sitting myself. Started actually being like, things are actually quite, I've done all right. Like I'm doing all right. Like I've done well for myself. Look where I am with fitness. So basically just sitting it a wee bit. Don't always be too fixated on the growth.
Do you know, I was saying to Danny, now I was actually going to tell a wee, I'm going to share a wee bit about you, Danny, actually, but I was just saying to Danny in the car, like, because we were we yeah. Said you got a small wiener. And but I was saying, like,
Depends what angle you look at it.
Fluffed it up enough.
I was saying to Danny in the car, like 2 years ago, right? I'd have killed to have 50 clients, to be working with 50 people, right? I work with like over 50 people now, right? And now I feel like a failure, right? Because I'm not working with 70 people, right? Your problems change as you scale and as you grow, right? But it made me actually in the car, literally in the journey in here, and I was like, do you know what, big man, you're actually doing all right, right? But anyway, just talking about what Danny said and about sitting in the moment, and Danny is very, very growth minded, and he really wants to push and he really wants to achieve loads. I remember when Danny didn't have a business, right, had no incomes, had all this shit happen to him, right, and he was like, I was going to say like living off of nuts and stuff, right? But do you know what I mean? He had fuck all money, right? And he was just like going to the shops and getting things that had loads of calories in them and whatever to make his money last longer, right? But look at where you are now.
Oh.
Look at you.
Look at us now.
Look at
us now.
Who'd have thought it?
But that's the thing. Because
It's
we
so
get
true.
too caught up, and I just want the next thing. I want the 5k months. I want the 7k months. I want the 10k months.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the 10k months, I want the 12k months. I want the
Yeah.
15k months.
It's I know, and it never stops. It never will stop. And I think
there's a healthier way we can go about it. Is basically what we can take for
Katie's
us.
been amazing for me in terms of like making me do that more. She's like, fuck's sake. It's like when I worked previous jobs, liked them, didn't like them, wasn't happy, moved on, and then like kept that rotation going forever and ever and ever. And then, but now I've learned to be like I do acknowledge like a couple times a week, I'm fucking so lucky to be doing all this stuff. Like it's mad I get to call this shit a job. Like it's crazy. I don't get it. Middle of the afternoon and I'm able to record a podcast. Two good dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Two good dudes. Shout out Paul.
Shout out Paul.
Shout out Paul. It's just the whole thing. It's a bit fucking mental, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, like it's cool. It's cool to. But the thing is, as well, there was once upon a time that I didn't think that doing what I was doing, even though it's not fucking groundbreaking and worldly, I didn't think was possible. Do you know what I mean? I don't think, nah, man, like that's silly. That's a stupid idea. Like you need to get a proper job. You need to do this. You need to do that. And it's like, arguably, I don't work as hard as I do now as when I worked 3 jobs behind the counter of a chemist, behind the bar at the fucking Crowlands Hotel, and like I said, I collect glasses at downtown.
It's a different kind of hard though.
Like I fucking worked hard for 3 £5 an hour jobs, and I was grafting like fuck. Whereas now I'm like, this doesn't feel like graft.
No.
It's cool, man.
Excellent.
Cool place to be.
Amazing.
It does.
Yeah. Thank you. That's it. I don't know how to cash out, man.
Do you want me to do it?
I got lost in the moment there.
The YouTube.
That was episode 24.
Yeah, good episode. I enjoyed
Leave us a rating on Apple and Spotify. That's something we've not asked for, right? Leave us a rating. Share it with a friend. Comment on the YouTubes. Follow us on the Instagram. And let us know who you want
Subscribe to
on.
all as well.
Subscribe.
Yep.
Let us know who you want on as a guest. We want to start getting some guests on, whether it be fitness related or not.
Or dominatrixes.
It could be sex workers. It could be OnlyFans stars, feet people. I don't know.
Feet people.
And fuck it, any of
If you
you.
sell feet pics or
If you sell feet pics, I want to hear from you. Not because I want the pics, just
Lol.
because I'm interested in what you do. Nah, whatever. Right?
Right.
Let's get some people on.
Awesome.
Peace.
peace.